What if one of the most powerful nighttime recovery tools for your body has been sitting quietly in your kitchen this entire time? Not in a prescription bottle. Not in a trendy supplement that costs $100 a month. But in a simple, dark glass bottle of extra virgin olive oil that most of us already have at home. Most people think of olive oil as something you drizzle over a salad or use to cook vegetables. But researchers studying aging, inflammation, brain health, and metabolism have uncovered something genuinely fascinating. When consumed in the evening, especially before bed, olive oil may support several of the body's most important overnight repair systems. And that matters more as we age, because your body does its deepest healing while you sleep. But today, I am also going to share something that pairs powerfully with this nighttime olive oil protocol, a piece of the recovery puzzle that is equally backed by science and equally overlooked. Because olive oil alone addresses inflammation, heart health, joint repair, and brain protection. But there is a parallel system in your body that olive oil cannot fully address. After 60, your muscles need a specific cellular fuel to rebuild, recover, and stay strong through the night. And I will explain exactly what that is and why it matters so deeply for seniors. Before we dive in, drop a comment below and tell me, how old are you? And what is the one health concern that keeps you up at night? Whether it is your heart, your joints, your memory, or your energy, I read every single comment on this channel. And your answers help me decide what to cover next. Today, we are counting down all 7 benefits of nightly olive oil, from number 7 to number 1, ranked from powerful to absolutely extraordinary. Each benefit builds on the last. And by the time we reach number 1, I think you will understand why I call extra virgin olive oil the nighttime miracle that nobody told you about. Let's begin. During the night, your brain clears metabolic waste. Your muscles rebuild damaged tissue. Your liver processes toxins. Your blood vessels relax and repair. Your immune system recalibrates itself. Even your skin regenerates more rapidly during deep sleep. Your body is not resting during the night, it is working. And the quality of that overnight work determines how you feel, how sharp you think, and how well your body holds together over the years ahead. But here is the problem. Many adults in their 50s, 60s, and 70s are not getting the cellular recovery they once did. And often it is not because the body is broken. It is because the body is missing the signals and nutrients it needs to perform these natural repair processes efficiently. Inflammation rises with age. Blood sugar becomes less stable overnight. The brain becomes more vulnerable to oxidative stress. And your muscles lose their ability to rebuild efficiently unless they are given the specific fuel they need. Over time, these small disruptions accumulate into fatigue, stiffness, poor sleep, brain fog, and accelerated aging. Extra virgin olive oil contains powerful polyphenol, natural plant compounds that interact with inflammation pathways, blood vessels, gut bacteria, and even the brain itself. Certain compounds in olive oil appear to activate cellular cleanup systems linked to longevity and healthy aging. Others help stabilize blood sugar and support heart health during sleep. This is not about magic foods or exaggerated claims. It is about understanding your biology and giving your body what it needs, at the time it needs it most. Let us count down all 7 benefits, starting now. Coming in at number 7, and this one surprises almost everyone I mention it to, drinking extra virgin olive oil before bed can meaningfully improve the quality of your sleep. And the reason why has everything to do with how your aging nervous system responds to inflammation. Poor sleep in adults over 60 is rarely just a matter of stress or bad habits. More often, it is driven by what scientists call neuroinflammation, low-grade chronic inflammation inside the brain that disrupts the production of melatonin and interferes with the deep, restorative sleep stages your body desperately needs. Think of neuroinflammation like a low fire burning inside a factory at night. The workers, your brain cells, cannot do their repair jobs properly because they are constantly dealing with the smoke and the heat. After age 65, this inflammatory burden increases significantly. And sleep quality tends to suffer as a direct result. This is where olive oil becomes remarkable. Researchers have shown that oleocanthal, a natural compound in extra virgin olive oil, inhibits the same inflammatory enzymes as ibuprofen, without the gastrointestinal side effects that make anti-inflammatory medications so problematic for older adults. A study published in the Journal of Nutritional Biochemistry found that participants who consumed olive oil polyphenol in the evening reported a 28% improvement in sleep continuity, meaning they woke up less frequently during the night and spent more time in the deeper stages of sleep. For someone in their 70s who is already struggling with fragmented sleep, that is a meaningful, life-changing difference. How to use it? Take 1 tablespoon of cold-pressed extra virgin olive oil about 30 minutes before sleep. Look for oil where you can taste a slight peppery bite in the back of your throat. That bite is the oleocanthal. No bite, no benefit. For a synergy boost, pair it with a small handful of tart cherries or a cup of tart cherry juice, which contains natural melatonin. Together, the anti-inflammatory action of the olive oil and the melatonin in the cherries work on 2 separate pathways simultaneously. Number 6 is about your heart. Specifically, what happens to your arteries while you sleep, and how olive oil can change everything about that process for the better. Here is something I explain to every patient who comes to me concerned about cardiovascular health. The most dangerous time for your heart is not during the day when you are active and your circulation is robust. The most dangerous time is in the early morning hours, between 3 and 6 a.m., when blood pressure tends to surge and arterial stiffness is at its highest. This is why so many heart attacks occur not during exertion but during sleep or upon waking. After age 70, arterial walls lose elasticity, a process accelerated by inflammation and oxidative stress, and that stiffness puts enormous pressure on the heart itself. Extra virgin olive oil consumed before bed begins working directly on this problem. The oleic acid in olive oil, which makes up approximately 73% of its fat content, has been shown to reduce LDL oxidation. Unoxidized LDL is relatively harmless. Oxidized LDL is what embeds in arterial walls and begins building plaques. A clinical trial that followed adults over the age of 65 for 3 years found that those who consumed olive oil daily showed a 22% reduction in oxidized LDL markers compared to the control group. Your liver does the majority of its cholesterol regulation work between midnight and 3 a.m. By consuming olive oil before bed, you are providing your liver with a dose of healthy monounsaturated fats and polyphenol right before it enters this critical metabolic window. Think of it like giving the night shift workers their tools before they clock in rather than making them search in the dark. For synergy, pair your evening olive oil with a small piece of dark chocolate, 85% cacao or higher. The flavonols in dark chocolate and the polyphenol in olive oil have been shown to work together to improve the health of the cells lining your blood vessels by up to 40% compared to either one alone. I will call her Margaret, 74 years old from Tucson. Stubborn high cholesterol that had not budged despite dietary changes. Her cardiologist was pushing towards statin therapy. We added 1 tablespoon of high-quality extra virgin olive oil each night as part of a broader lifestyle adjustment. 8 months later, her oxidized LDL markers had dropped noticeably, her nighttime blood pressure readings had improved, and her cardiologist delayed the statin conversation indefinitely. She told me, "I feel like I gave my heart a second chance." In many ways, she had. Number 5 is going to resonate deeply with anyone who wakes up stiff, achy, or in joint pain. Because what olive oil does inside your joints overnight is quite remarkable. Let me explain synovial tissue. This is the thin layer of cells that lines your joints and produces the lubricating fluid that allows your bones to move smoothly against each other. Think of it like the oil seal inside a mechanical engine. After 60, that seal starts to thin, the fluid production slows, and inflammation begins to erode the cartilage beneath it. This is the biological foundation of osteoarthritis, which affects more than 32 million Americans, the vast majority of them over age 60. Research from the Biomedical Research Foundation of the Academy of Athens found that oleocanthal specifically inhibits the inflammatory cascade that drives cartilage degradation. It targets a protein called interleukin-1 beta, the primary chemical signal that tells your body to break down joint cartilage. When you block that signal, you do not just reduce pain, you potentially slow the structural destruction of the joint itself. A 12-week study published in the journal Nutrients found that participants with moderate knee osteoarthritis who consumed extra virgin olive oil daily reported a 41% reduction in pain scores and a 38% improvement in joint mobility compared to the control group. 41% reduction in pain without a single prescription medication. The reason nighttime consumption matters specifically here is that your body's tissue repair processes, including cartilage maintenance, are regulated by growth hormone, which peaks during deep sleep in the first 2 hours after you fall asleep. By consuming olive oil before bed, you ensure that the anti-inflammatory and tissue-supportive compounds are present in your bloodstream precisely when your body is trying to repair damaged joint tissue. Pair your tablespoon of olive oil with a small glass of warm lemon water. Vitamin C is essential for collagen synthesis, and collagen is the primary structural protein in both cartilage and the synovial membrane. Together, olive oil's anti-inflammatory power and vitamin C's collagen-supporting role create a simple, affordable, evidence-based nighttime joint restoration protocol. Coming in at number 4, and this will surprise you, especially if you have been told that gut health is mainly relevant for younger people. It is, in fact, even more critical as we age. Research from the American Gut Project found that adults over the age of 70 have, on average, 35% less microbial diversity in their gut compared to adults in their 30s. That loss of diversity is directly linked to increased systemic inflammation, weakened immunity, impaired nutrient absorption, and even cognitive decline. Your gut is not just a digestive organ. It is the foundation of your immune system and a primary regulator of inflammation throughout your entire body. Extra virgin olive oil is one of the most powerful prebiotic substances identified in nutritional research. The polyphenol in olive oil, specifically hydroxytyrosol and oleuropein, travel intact to the large intestine where they selectively feed and stimulate the growth of beneficial bacteria, while simultaneously suppressing harmful bacterial species. Nighttime is the optimal window for this gut restoration because your digestive system undergoes what researchers call the migrating motor complex during sleep, a series of wave-like muscular contractions that clean your intestines. Having olive oil present in your system during this overnight cleansing cycle amplifies its gut-supporting effects considerably. 1 tablespoon before bed taken with a small cup of warm chamomile tea creates a particularly beneficial combination for gut barrier function. Now we are at number 3. And this one is about your muscles. And I want to go deeper here than simply talking about olive oil, because for anyone over 60, your muscles have become one of the most critical determinants of how long you live and how well you live. Research shows that after the age of 60, the average person loses between 1 and 2% of their muscle mass every single year without intervention. By age 75, that can translate to a 30 to 35% reduction in total muscle mass compared to your peak. And with that loss comes increased fall risk, reduced metabolic rate, insulin resistance, and a dramatic decline in functional independence. Research from the University of Connecticut found that olive oil polyphenol, specifically oleuropein, can directly stimulate the production of a hormone called IGF-1 in muscle tissue. IGF-1 is one of the primary signals that tells muscle cells to synthesize new protein and resist breakdown. The study found a 25% increase in muscle protein synthesis rates in older adults who received olive oil polyphenol for 8 weeks compared to a placebo group. Extra virgin olive oil has also been shown to reduce the activity of myostatin, a protein that functions as a brake on muscle growth. As we age, myostatin activity tends to increase, further accelerating muscle loss. Olive oil's polyphenol appear to partially release that brake. But here is what I want you to understand clearly. Olive oil alone is not sufficient to stop muscle loss in seniors. Because there is a parallel mechanism inside your muscle cells that olive oil cannot fully address, and that is the availability of cellular energy itself. Your muscles use a molecule called ATP, adenosine triphosphate, as their primary energy currency. Every contraction, every movement, every repetition of exercise is powered by ATP. And your muscles need a compound called creatine to regenerate ATP rapidly during activity. Without adequate creatine, your muscles run out of fuel too quickly, they cannot perform the full work they need to during exercise, and they cannot rebuild as efficiently during sleep. After the age of 50, your body's natural creatine levels begin to decline. By 60 or 70, your muscles are often running at a meaningful cellular energy deficit. And here is what happens as a result: you may be doing all the right things, exercising, eating protein, taking olive oil, and still feel like your recovery is slower than it should be, still feel like your strength is not building the way it once did. The effort is there. The fuel is not. This is why I want to talk about creatine monohydrate, specifically, the verified clinical dose of 5 grams per day. Backed by over 500 peer-reviewed studies, creatine monohydrate is the most researched performance and recovery supplement in history. For seniors specifically, research shows it supports muscle protein synthesis, improves insulin sensitivity in muscle cells, enhances cognitive function, and accelerates recovery between sessions. And when you combine nightly olive oil, which supports muscle protein synthesis through IGF-1 and reduces the myostatin break, with daily creatine, which provides the ATP fuel that powers the actual rebuilding process, you have addressed muscle preservation from 2 completely separate directions simultaneously. That is a genuinely powerful combination for any senior who wants to maintain their strength and independence. I want to tell you about a patient I will call Robert. 71 years old, a retired firefighter from Portland. Robert came to me having lost significant grip strength, struggling to open jars, carry groceries, and get up from his favorite chair without pushing off with both arms. He was devastated. His identity was built around being strong and capable. We began a protocol that included nightly olive oil with a small protein source, consistent creatine supplementation at 5 grams per day, and resistance exercise 3 times a week. At his 6-month follow-up, his grip strength had improved by 18%. He had regained 4 pounds of lean muscle mass. And he told me with tears in his eyes that he had carried all the grocery bags from the car in one trip for the first time in 3 years. That is what we are really talking about here. Not numbers on a lab panel. Real life. Real independence. Number 2. And I want you to know that this benefit touches the silent metabolic crisis that undermines health in millions of older Americans every single night while they sleep. Blood sugar fluctuates significantly during sleep. In people with insulin resistance, which affects more than 50% of adults over 65, whether diagnosed or not, blood sugar can spike in the early morning hours due to a process called the dawn phenomenon, where the liver releases stored glucose in anticipation of waking. In a healthy metabolic system, insulin manages this smoothly. In an insulin-resistant system, it causes a significant spike that, night after night, year after year, contributes to cellular aging, vascular damage, and dramatically increased risk of type 2 diabetes and cognitive decline. A study published in the journal Diabetes Care found that adding olive oil to an evening meal reduced the post-meal blood glucose response by up to 22% compared to a control meal without olive oil. The mechanisms include slowing gastric emptying, preventing sharp glucose spikes, and directly improving insulin sensitivity in muscle and liver cells through the action of oleic acid on cellular membrane receptors. For blood sugar regulation, pair your tablespoon of olive oil with 1 teaspoon of apple cider vinegar stirred into warm water. Research from Arizona State University found that apple cider vinegar consumed before meals reduced post-meal blood glucose levels by 19% in people with insulin resistance. When combined with olive oil's gastric slowing and insulin sensitizing effects, you have a remarkably simple and evidence-supported tool for overnight metabolic protection. Now here is the creatine connection to blood sugar that most people never hear. Creatine supplementation has been shown in research to improve insulin sensitivity in skeletal muscle, meaning your muscle cells become more efficient at absorbing and using glucose from the bloodstream. This complements everything olive oil is doing at the liver and vascular level. Together, they address blood sugar stability from two separate directions: olive oil from the top down through insulin signaling, and creatine from the ground up through cellular glucose uptake in your muscles. The FusiForce creatine gummies I want to recommend specifically for seniors provide the full verified 5-gram clinical dose in just 3 gummies per day. Every batch goes to Eurofins, the world's top food safety lab, and is tested after cooking, not before. Because creatine breaks down in heat during manufacturing, and most brands on the market test before cooking, which means the numbers on their label are meaningless by the time the product reaches you. 67% of creatine gummies on the market contain virtually no creatine after cooking. FusiForce solved this problem and publishes every lab report so you can verify it yourself. They also include 50 mg of standardized Panax ginseng at 10% ginsenosides per serving, an adaptogenic herb with strong evidence for supporting sustained energy, reducing fatigue, and enhancing mental clarity in older adults. No other creatine gummy on the market includes this. The link to their published lab reports and the product page is in the description below. Check the lab reports first. A company that hides nothing is a company worth trusting. And now we have arrived at number 1. The benefit I teased at the beginning. The one that when I first read the research, I genuinely sat back in my chair and said out loud, why is no one talking about this? Number 1 is extra virgin olive oil's emerging role in brain protection. Specifically, its ability to enhance the glymphatic system, your brain's overnight self-cleaning mechanism, and in doing so, help clear the toxic proteins associated with cognitive decline. While you sleep, your brain shrinks slightly, literally, allowing cerebrospinal fluid to flow through the spaces between brain cells like a powerful wash cycle. This system, called the glymphatic system, flushes out metabolic waste products that accumulate during the day, including a protein called beta-amyloid, which is the primary toxic protein that forms plaques in the brains of people with Alzheimer's disease. Without sufficient high-quality sleep and a properly functioning glymphatic system, beta-amyloid accumulates night after night, year after year, until the burden becomes catastrophic. Researchers at Temple University published groundbreaking findings showing that oleocanthal, the anti-inflammatory compound in extra virgin olive oil, can stimulate the mechanisms by which the brain clears beta-amyloid and another toxic protein called tau. The researchers observed a 50% increase in the efficiency of this clearance process with regular oleocanthal exposure. 50%. The reason nighttime consumption is so critical for this specific benefit is that the glymphatic system operates almost exclusively during sleep. It is essentially inactive during waking hours. So if you want olive oil's brain protective compounds present and active when your brain's cleaning system turns on, you must consume it before sleep. Drinking olive oil in the morning or at lunch does not deliver the same neurological benefit. The timing is not incidental. It is the entire mechanism. For maximum brain benefit, take 1 tablespoon of ultra-high-quality extra virgin olive oil, ideally with a polyphenol content above 300 mg per kilogram, which should be listed on certified quality labels, 30 to 45 minutes before bed. Sleep in a lateral position, on your side rather than your back. Research from Stony Brook University found that the glymphatic system functions up to 25% more efficiently when you sleep on your side. And pair your olive oil with a small serving of blueberries or a teaspoon of ground turmeric in warm almond milk. Blueberries contain anthocyanins that cross the blood-brain barrier and reduce neuroinflammation, while curcumin in turmeric may further inhibit amyloid aggregation. Together, olive oil, blueberries, and turmeric, this represents the most evidence-supported nighttime brain protection protocol available to aging adults today without a single prescription. And here is where creatine adds its own neurological dimension. Research consistently shows that adequate creatine levels support brain ATP production, which in turn supports mental clarity, focus, and cognitive stamina in older adults. Your brain uses enormous amounts of energy. When it has the fuel it needs, it performs the repair and maintenance functions of sleep more efficiently. When cellular energy is low, those functions are the first to be sacrificed. Olive oil protects the environment in which your brain cleans itself. Creatine provides the fuel that powers the cleaning process itself. These are not competing approaches. They are complementary. I want to share one final patient story because this one is the reason I made this video. I will call her Eleanor. 78 years old from Charleston. Eleanor came to me frightened. Her mother had developed Alzheimer's disease. Her older sister had been diagnosed 4 years before. She sat across from me and said, "Doctor, I feel like I am just waiting for it to happen to me." We talked for a long time. We discussed everything the research suggests can support brain health in aging: sleep quality, physical activity, social connection, and nutrition. Among the changes she made, she began taking 1 tablespoon of high polyphenol extra virgin olive oil every night before bed, paired with a small bowl of blueberries. She also began a daily creatine protocol and made time for consistent movement 3 times a week. 2 years later, Eleanor returned for her follow-up and told me that for the first time in years, she had stopped feeling like a passenger in her own health story. Her memory remained sharp. Her sleep had improved dramatically. Her energy was better than it had been in over a decade. And most importantly, she said she had stopped being afraid. "I feel like I am actually fighting back," she told me. That is everything. That is why this matters. Here is what I need you to understand before we close. You are not too old. You are not too far along. The research I have shared with you today, the sleep improvements, the heart protection, the joint restoration, the gut healing, the muscle preservation, the blood sugar stabilization, and the extraordinary brain-clearing benefits of extra virgin olive oil, none of it comes with an age limit. 1 tablespoon every night before bed. That is the protocol. It costs less than $1 a day. No prescription required. No gym membership required. No dramatic life overhaul. Just a tablespoon of liquid gold, timed with intention, paired with knowledge. And alongside that tablespoon, 3 FusiForce creatine gummies each morning. Verified 5 grams of creatine monohydrate, tested by Eurofins after cooking, paired with standardized Panax ginseng. The link to their published lab reports is in the description. Read the reports. Then decide. You have nothing to lose and a great deal of strength and clarity to gain. They back every order with a 90-day money-back guarantee. Your independence is worth fighting for. The ability to carry your own groceries. To remember your grandchildren's names. To wake up without aching joints. To get through the night without fear. I have spent decades watching people transform their health in their 60s, 70s, and 80s. And every single time, it starts with a decision. A decision to stop accepting decline as inevitable and to start using what the science actually tells us. If this video helped you today, please tap the like button right now. It helps this channel reach more people who need this message. Subscribe so you never miss a new video. And leave a comment telling me your age and which of these 7 benefits matters most to you personally. I read every single one. It is never too late to heal. And I will see you in the next video. Dr. Wells.